something inside of you is going to tell you that you should probably take it a little slow on something new that you're doing.
Uh-huh.
But the reality is you should be setting your expectations high because it's new and it's going to be hard either way. You may as well go big, man.
That's a
The
good
same
point.
stuff, the same stuff that I did on my first property, which was a duplex. I'm doing it right now on 16 and 20 unit buildings.
Welcome to the House Switch Show, where we talk to average people that have done above average things in real estate. Today, I'm going to talk to Tarik McAllister, better known as Rick Estates on Instagram. The sponsor for today's show is House Rich, the official brand of home ownership. We got it right here. You can use promo code POD for a discount on merchandise. But yeah, so let's get into the show. So I came across Rick, I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5 months ago. And like you see people on Instagram, and everyone's a guru. Not saying you're a guru, not a guru, but everyone's a guru on Instagram. But when you watch people, you kind of tell they know what they're talking about because they're throwing like random, like they'll mention like random stuff. You're like, okay, this person probably knows what we talked about. Like I saw a video of yours a little bit ago. You're talking about like kerosene heaters and fixing the drywall. And I was like, that's a pretty random thing to bring up for somebody if they didn't know what they were talking about. But could you introduce yourself to the audience to kind of tell a little bit how you got into real estate?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on your platform, man. It's always a pleasure to come on and be honored to come through and speak to anybody's platform about my passion. My government name, Tarik McAllister, better known as Rick Estate on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and all those other social media platforms. I'm a real estate developer and investor out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, primarily. I'm also a real estate educator. I go by Rick Estate, the real estate educator, not just because I teach people how to invest in real estate, but because prior to being a real estate investor full-time, I was a full-time teacher, full-time educator.
Okay.
So I've been able to combine my two passions of both education and real estate. And, the rest is history. Continuing to do those two passions every day.
Okay, so what was the plan? So I know you went to a HBC, you can talk a little bit about that, but when you went to college, graduated college, what was the plan? The plan was to teach, and then you kind of caught the real estate bug, or how that happened?
Man, so the plan before I even went to college, right? So I got to back up a little bit. The plan was to figure out how I can avoid going to college without making my mom mad, right? So so I originally wanted to just go straight into the military full time because I was just like hearing all this stuff about like college debt and stuff like that, and it just wasn't something that I was interested in. I was always very forward thinking in regards to my finances, and obtaining debt in exchange for college education just wasn't speaking to me. And so I went along pretty much. I was pretty good student in school, was involved in athletics and everything, football, basketball. But it didn't take me to the point where it was going to pay for my education. So, the military was what I was thinking of. So,
okay.
But to make moms happy, right? I went on the college tours and everything, and just to be like, all right, well, I tried, and then it didn't work out. If I didn't get the scholarship or whatever like that, I was out. And during a visit to Virginia State University, shout out to the HBCUs, I actually found out about the Army ROTC program and a scholarship opportunity. I applied for it and was awarded the scholarship. And I went to VSU on a full academic scholarship through the military, through the Army ROTC program. And once I got there, I started to kind of tap into more of what I actually was interested in from an educational standpoint. And what I landed on was the actual art of education. I was able to get with a few mentors of mine who are still mentors in the education space to this day. And they put me on game that there was less than 1% Black male teachers in the classrooms around the country. And I was like, wow, like it just spoke to me, and that's how I landed in the education field. So simultaneously completed my obligations both in the ROTC program and as a college undergrad. And but in the back of my head, the real estate bug was always in there because I was raised in a household where my dad was a general contractor, and I was exposed to that growing up. And so when I graduated college, that was the first thing that I was thinking about. Like, I gotta get my first investment property, and the rest is history.
Okay, so I don't know if I didn't realize you were in the military. I don't know if you can see my sword back there, but I was in the Navy. That's my that's my sword back there.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
and then so you graduated college. So when did you actually go buy your first piece of real estate?
I bought my first piece of real estate at the end of my senior year of college in 2013.
Okay.
I'm 21 years old. All of my battle buddies, they was tapping into loans, right? And it was like, man, they giving us loans. You know, you in the military.
Yeah.
They was getting the Chargers and they was getting the Audis and all that.
Yeah.
They getting those. I'm like, yo, I got this 2003 Acura CL was clean. Like I bought it with my refund check earlier the semester. Look, I don't need no new car. This joint nice right here for me. So I took that loan that everybody was trying to get cars and stuff, and I was like, well, damn, you can get a car for a loan. Why can't you get a car for a loan for a house?
Yeah.
And I went ahead and saved up a lot of money, was able to actually buy the property cash, but then use the loan to actually renovate the house of my first property straight out of college.
Okay. So what gave you the confidence to renovate a property in the first place? You know, to me, that seems like a very daunting task, renovating a property.
Yeah, well, it goes back to me being exposed to real estate investing at a young age. I was 13, 14 years old, like in bandos, as I like to call them, renovating properties, well, both me and my dad. So I was already exposed to the game at an early age. I was exposed to it from the game of like from the worker standpoint, though. You know, he was doing a lot of work. Specifically, he was doing a lot of work for one particular investor who I was able to kind of pick his brain, as a lot of people say today, and ask him about like, man, like how you get all these properties. And he started pretty much kind of gave me like vague answers, but like it sparked my interest enough to I was like, man, I don't know exactly how he did it, but I need to find out more because I damn sure don't want to be painting these houses. I like the concept of doing it, but I like being the recipient of the end product versus being the person that helps produce it without the gain of the equity on the back end.
So you started with one property. How many properties do you have now? How many doors do you have at this point?
I got north of about 70 doors. God willing, things go well with these next couple of deals that I'm putting together that we're inking right now. We're going to be surpassing that 100 door mark in the next 30 to 60 days.
Oh, okay. Wow. So are you in the commercial space now, like more than 4 units, or kind of where are you at right now as far as properties?
Primarily, I acquire and renovate and stabilize multifamily properties. So my doors tend to multiply pretty quickly. So right now we're working on several multifamily acquisition, new construction projects that we've been working on quite some time. One of them we actually just recently acquired the first building permit for us. So it's going to be my first official new construction out the ground 4-unit condo building, and we have several others that we're going to be doing. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting 2022.
Oh, okay. Also building homes from scratch. So can you talk? I'll get back to that. But can you talk about like scaling from like 1 door to 4 to 8 to 10? Because I think a lot of times folks see 70 doors, like that's just so many doors. Like, how do I get there? But how did you get up to like 10 doors?
It sounds cliche, man, but it's rinse, wash, and repeat, really. Like it's establishing a routine. And as a fellow military guy, you didn't go the Army route, but we're gonna give you a pass on that, right? Just messing with you. But you create a standard, right? And that standard for me was established early on as to how to acquire, renovate, and stabilize the property. Of course, I've learned better and better ways of doing it as I went along. But I always tell people I'm still buying properties off of the first property that I bought back in 2013. Because I'm still doing the same exact thing. I'm buying it, I'm stabilizing it, I'm being disciplined with the money when it's coming, and then I'm putting it right back out into the streets to acquire more assets.
Okay, you talk about that process of acquiring properties. No, like in your bio, it says like a creative financer or financier. Like you do like creative financing, or how do you go about financing these properties? It's kind of the BRRRR method of using your cash, or how are you financing these all these properties?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm an advocate of, if there's money missing, that just means that there is another strategy that needs to enter.
Okay.
So I literally have bought properties every different way that you can probably think of, or have helped people do it. So initially I did start out buying properties cash. Then
Okay.
I learned more about the wholesaling strategies where I was wholesaling deals, and then I would pretty much wholesale a certain amount of deals. So let's say, for example, I had 5 properties under contract in preparation to wholesale them. And for those who don't know what wholesaling is, it's simply just basically finding properties off market and selling it off to a developer or another investor who's going to buy it, and they're going to pay you a finder's fee essentially.
Okay.
I would basically do that to build up my cash, right? But I would have 5 properties under contract. I would try to quickly sell off 3 of them so I can take my profits from the wholesale deals and buy the other 2. Or maybe sell 4 and keep 1 for myself. And I would find myself buying those properties outright cash. I did that several times early on in my investment career, which enabled me to be able to have a sizable portfolio that I own essentially free and clear. Then I learned more about the BRRRR strategy, which then allowed me to leverage those free and clear properties to be able to pull equity out of them to then buy even more doors and continue to rinse, wash, and repeat the process through using hard money lenders, bringing in partners, both private equity partners, and also hard money lenders, and then on the back end, stabilizing them with more traditional bank institutions.
So thanks. So can you go into the wholesaling process a little more, please? I know it's one of those things that it seems like super easy on paper. It's like, hey, find a property for cheap, sell to somebody for money. But you just you dive into it a little bit more, because it's one of the things that looks like super easy on paper, but I know it's harder than what it seems like to actually make money doing that.
Yeah. So the home buying process, you said?
Yeah, no, so the wholesaling process.
Oh, the wholesaling process. Yeah. So the wholesaling process is basically where you are looking for a distressed property. So a distressed property can be categorized as a property that has overgrown grass or broken out windows. Like you see the mailbox is filled up with mail because no one has picked mail out of it for however long. That could be classified as like, that's a more of an obvious one.
Okay.
You would find that particular property, whether it be through you actually physically seeing it with yourself. People call that method driving for dollars, or sometimes you can even find those type of properties by buying a list of properties that specifically have all of those type of properties in a certain zip code or a certain city.
Okay.
Once you have those properties, you can go and skip trace them, meaning you would be able to find the ownership information and their phone number or email or whatever type of means of communication that you can reach out to them. You're finding them and helping them essentially solve a problem, because obviously there's a problem there that they have this property that they own that they're not taking care of, right? Now, when you find that person, you're negotiating the price for you to purchase the property. Typically, it's going to be below what the value of the as-is property is. So let's say, for example, I find this property at 1234 Main Street. It's overgrown grass. It's the mail is all over the porch and stuff. It looks like they need to get rid of this house. I find Miss Johnson's phone number. Hi, Miss Johnson. My name is Tarik. I'm a real estate investor in the area. I'm interested in your property. See, you don't have much interest in it anymore. Are you interested in selling it? She might say, yeah, Tarik, yeah, I am interested in selling it. Now, I know from my research, I can probably buy this property for about $50,000 to make it make sense. But as a wholesaler, what you're looking to do is get the property below market value so you can have essentially like a little spread in there for you to be able to make money on your side. So you may negotiate with the person and say, hey, listen, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to come back and see the property. You don't even have to clean it out. I'll buy it from you right now for $40,000. Ms. Johnson says, yeah, I'll sell it for $40,000. That house been sitting there for months anyway. I don't plan on ever going back to it. You sign a contract with that person, a real estate contract between yourself and Ms. Johnson for $40,000. Now I may call another investor up that I know loves this area. Hey, listen, I got this property at 1234 Main Street in the area that you already like buying in. Only $50,000. It's right on par with the ARVs, the after repair values, and the as is values of everything in this area. Yeah, Tarik, I love the deal. Let's get it done. Now, what I'm going to do is what's going to call assignment of contract. I'm going to assign my right to purchase that contract to that C investor for $50,000. Now remember, Ms. Johnson agreed to sell it to me for 40. So that's a difference of $10,000. When that transaction takes place, Ms. Johnson's going to get her 40 as promised. The investor is going to get the house as promised, and I'm going to get the difference of that 40 and 50, which is $10,000, which is called a wholesale fee or an assignment fee or contract fee, various different things. And that's essentially how a wholesale deal works.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. You also talk about, you mentioned the BRRR method. You kind of break down for the folks what the BRRR method is as well.
Yeah. So the BRRR method, man, I can teach a whole darn class on the BRRR method, but the BRRR method is buying. You're going to be buying a property through various methods, off-market deals, realtors, what have you, and then you're going to be renovating the property. And once you're renovating the property, you're going to stabilize it through a process that we're all familiar with, which is renting the property. Once you rent the property, you're going to be then paying back. Typically, if you use leverage on the front end to buy the property using a hard money lender or private financing, you're going to be refinancing the property. Then you're going to be paying back that short-term financing. And then the last but not least, you're going to be repeating that process all over again. So BRRRR strategy.
Okay, thanks. I'm going through all your financing methods. And the last one I wanted to touch on was the hard money. Can you explain a little bit just how hard money works?
Yeah, so hard money lenders basically, in a short and sweet explanation, is hard money lenders finance deals that traditional banks won't. Typically, when you are getting financing through a bank, whether it be FHA or conventional, the basic requirements typically is for the property to be livable condition.
Yeah.
So hard money lenders, they'll finance a property with a hole in their ceiling. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking about the main roof, might not even be a front door on it, right? I bought some properties where the whole damn back half and the side of the house is gone. Those particular hard money lenders will finance those deals because they are willing to take on more riskier investments where you have to renovate the property. Hard money lenders are typically going to be higher in interest than a traditional bank will be. And low end from 8 to as high as I've seen 15% interest. You're going to also typically with a hard money lender have an interest only loan, meaning that if you borrow $100,000 and you're paying them $1,000 a month, it's not chipping away at your principal. You're paying that straight up, and then once you pay them back, it's that full $100,000. And typically it's going to be a short-term loan in between. I've seen some hard money lenders go as low as 3 months, and I have others that I've dealt with that go up as high as 24 months. Okay.
Thank you for the breakdown of those three items. So kind of going through your building your portfolio, what are some lessons that you learned that you probably you only would have learned from, failures or, learning on the job? What's the things that you kind of learned from your, growing your real estate portfolio?
Yeah, I would say think big early, man.
Okay.
I think a lot of times, like when we're starting out anything new, we oftentimes manage our expectations by setting very low standards for ourselves. And oftentimes that is a reflection of our own insecurities and our own limitations that we're putting on ourselves. But the reality is, obviously, you're going to have something inside of you is going to tell you that you should probably take it a little slow on something new that you're doing. But the reality is you should be setting your expectations high because it's new and it's going to be hard either way. You may as well go big, man. The same stuff that I did on my first property, which was a duplex, I'm doing it right now on 16 and 20 unit buildings. 16 and 20 unit rehabs that I'm doing, where I'm doing, four units on one block and two duplexes on the same block and stuff like that. I'm dealing with the same stuff, the same BS with lenders, subcontractors, the city, you name it. So just go big, man. Big.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, it makes sense. You're going to have issues either way, so you might as well, start off with that big goal in mind. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So how do you go about building a team? Because obviously you're not doing this yourself. You have, I assume a team behind you. Who are the members of your team? How do you go about building a team?
So internally, I have both an executive assistant and a property liaison that kind of manages the day-to-day operations, like it's like the behind the scenes, the office stuff, you know, when we're dealing with subcontractors, when we're dealing with city officials for permits and things like that, and our different lenders that we deal with, and property management related tasks. And then I also own a construction company where I have a consistent full-time crew of about four guys that work for my construction company that run my day-to-day. But yeah, then outside of that, it's just continuing to build and maintain great relationships with subcontractors that help get these projects done.
Okay, so you own a construction, like they have dump trucks now? You like own a construction company? That's
Yeah.
kind of
Yep. Yep. I bought my first dump truck last year. Prior to that, I just was operating a construction company with a pickup truck.
okay. So do they work just for you? Are they out doing their own deals as well, or?
Yeah, my primary guys, they work for me exclusively, and then most of the guys that do work for me are subcontractors. So like we subcontract out to different plumbing companies, electrical companies, HVAC companies, roofers, what have you, you know. But my main guys, like, you know, framing crews, finish crews and stuff like that is my in-house crew, who also help me maintain these 70 plus doors that we got as well.
Okay, yes, right. Yeah, they got a lot of stuff to do anyway. So they can probably live off those, or work off those 70 doors. So how do you go about actually, like, what tips you give somebody for actually vetting contractors? You know, I'm brand new. I've never rehabbed a property in my life. Like, how do I vet a contractor even to begin with?
Right. So the best way to vet a contract is not to go find them at Home Depot. I heard that a dozen times. Listen, no knock on the people that's working out of Home Depot. I've gotten plenty of contractors and workers and day laborers and stuff from there. But if you're talking about building a business, that's not where you want to start at. What you want to do is you want to pretty much find people who are actively working, and you pull up on them, man. You know, if you're looking for a framing crew, go head out during the day, throughout the week, if you're able to, if your schedule allows you to be able to do that. If not, if you're working 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, get your butt out there early on a Saturday and get out there into the neighborhoods that you know are actively developing, and go out there and get on the job sites where you see people actually framing. You find somebody who's going to be able to point you to the boss, or if they're the boss, you get their contact information and let them know that you are interested in hiring them. You know, seeing is believing. I think that's the best way to do it. You know, you find someone on social media or something like that, it could be or online or something like that, you can very easily be manipulated into thinking that some work is theirs, or they have done more of that work than they actually have done. And then also, after finding them, then after you've already seen with your own eyes what they can do, you can go ahead and get some additional references, and last but not least, possibly most importantly, make sure you're able to get licensing and license and insurance from that person before you hire them as well.
Oh, okay, thanks. That makes sense. So as far as deals, how do you go about finding deals now versus before? Has it changed? Like you finding a deal at door 70 versus door 5? Is there any difference?
No, it's not. It's not. My education level is increasing more, which affords me more opportunities. But to be quite honest with you, I'm seeing a lot of the same deals that I was seeing 8 years ago. I know how to handle them now.
Oh, okay. So just pretty much the same you're doing before as you were.
Wholesaling, using different wholesale strategies, wholesale methods, networking. I'm constantly still on the MLS, Zillow, Trulia, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, you name it. I'm in anywhere I've ever found a deal at. I'm still looking there. I'm one of them people that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, I think everybody always comes out with like this new strategy every year of how to find new deals, and I'm still finding deals the same way I've been finding them. So like, I'm not going to switch it up. I'll definitely add new methods to my strategies, but I'm not going to just drop one and then replace it with the new hot thing that everybody's doing.
Yeah, if it works, double down, triple down, and I guess 70 down at a certain point.
Yeah.
What are some like some capital expenditures like new investors should be looking out for? Because I think, when folks are, I think like when the average person is looking at a property, they're saying, hey, the mortgage is going to be $1,000, the rent's going to be $1,500. I make $500 a month in profit, which obviously is not the case. Like, what are some things that investors should be looking out for when they're actually trying to actually calculate their cash flow a property would generate?
Yeah, you want to account for maintenance. You want to account for vacancy, because the reality is the property that you buy and stabilize, or that you buy as a rental property that was already renovated, maybe it's not going to always be rented. I know that social media has probably told you that you're going to be able to make X amount of dollars every month off it for the rest of your life. That's not exactly true, because some things happen, such as pandemics where people don't pay their rent, right?
Yeah.
Things happen such as maintenance things, such as a hot water heater going or a clogged toilet or something like that. And, we just had a big storm on the East Coast, shoveling. You want to account for things like that in your budget. If you don't want to be able to be that person managing that property, you got to account for property management fees. So you just want to make sure that you factor those things in. Another thing that I think gets overlooked a lot of times, especially with multifamily investing, is common area maintenance and trash management and like in utilities. That extra meter that you have for your hallways and exterior lights may seem like it's like minuscule, but that $30 a month can add up. And especially if you do something like I have done in the past, where you like put an outlet on the exterior in the hallway or something like that, or a heater, and then your tenants are abusing it, and you out of nowhere get $100 bill, electric bill. You're like, whoa, what's going on?
The core going under the door back into their place. Okay.
Yeah, man. All types of crazy stuff, and just managing the trash as well. It's super important for you to maintain those common areas, because that's a representation of your portfolio and of your product. And the better you represent that, I think the theory is that the less vacancies you'll have.
Okay, and thank you. And you had a interesting video I saw on your page talking about scaling over time. Like, I think a lot of times folks, they look at a property, I need to make this amount of money in the first year. But you talk about how scaling actually works over time.
Yeah, sure. For me, scaling is just is being consistently consistent, being consistent, man. You got to keep rinse, wash, and repeating, man. Like, you don't get to 10 doors overnight. You don't get to 20 doors overnight. You can really simplify things by, if you like. I just got off a call with my mentorship this evening. And it's just like, if you have that goal of getting 30 doors, okay, all right, 30 doors, that's 10 triplexes. If you want 20 doors, that's 10 duplexes, and you can break it down and simplify and narrow that goal even more, to say, okay, well, if I want to get 30 doors, and 30 doors equates to 10 triplexes, maybe you don't get 10 triplexes in a whole year, but maybe you get 2 this year, right? And if you get 2 this year, maybe you want to double down on that next year, right? And you go and get 4. So you look up, you got 6. You're only 4 away from your goal, So I think what we do is, and going back to what I said in the beginning, go big early, but also have an objective, a plan of action, how to do it. And most importantly, tapping in with people that been where you want to go. That's the cheat code. I call it the time machine. Getting mentorship from people that's already been there is like, is literally today's time machine. You can go ahead and tap right into their experience and their knowledge of what they've been able to do, the good, bad, and the ugly, if they're delivering it properly. And that'll definitely curb your learning a lot.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And thanks for the explanation. So I wasn't super clear with what I was asking. That was a great explanation. But so, like, you had a video where you talked about like scaling a property over time. And like, let's say your rents are $1,000 and your mortgage is $800. They pay down the rent, then you refinance it again, and the rents get lower. You know what I'm talking about? And just how that kind of helps with the cash flow and all that.
Oh, that's a good one. That's like one of my favorite ones, man. Yeah. I think a lot, like, so like investing in real estate, it from the outside looking in is sexy, but it's not, because like when you first start when you're investing in real estate, like, if let's say, for example, you got a property that's renting out for $1,000 a month, your mortgage is, your mortgage and expenses is $700 all in, right? That's property management, maintenance, including potential 10% vacancy, all of that, right? Your net profit is $300. $300 a month, not changing nobody's life. $3,600 a year is definitely not either, right?
Yeah.
But what happens is when you take that $300 and you times it by 10 doors, that's $3,000, right? A month that you're making, right? And that equates to $36,000 a year of net profit. But then where the magic happens is when these properties are stabilized, and what happens is they continue to appreciate while someone's paying your mortgage in there, they are decreasing the amount of mortgage that you have on there. And then you do a magical thing where you do that one of that favor R's in that BRRRR strategy, and you refinance the property again during certain ideal times where you can maybe refinance it down to a lower interest rate, or even the same interest rate, but with a less amount of a principal, where you are decreasing your monthly payment. So when you now are taking that $700 a month and taking it down to $500 a month, you just added another $200 of net cash flow. If you're doing that $200 of net cash flow extra across 10 properties, man, you making more money in real estate without actually acquiring, renovating, and stabilizing more doors. And that's where you see what everybody talks about, that generational wealth. That's where you see that cash flow start to really make a dent, and you start to look back and pat yourself from 10 years ago on the back, from making those type of moves.
Gotcha. Thank you for that breakdown. And so a little bit ago, you talked about mentorship, getting off a call with your mentor. I know you have a mentorship program as well. I always think it's important that like your mentor has a mentor in the first place, because they're giving you the knowledge from somebody that's done a little bit better than them, and then they're giving you knowledge. You're getting that knowledge as well from them. But you talk about working with the mentor and also your mentorship program as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a saying that if your mentor doesn't have a mentor, run.
Okay.
So yeah, currently the mentorship that I receive are from other developers who are doing what I'm currently working on and embarking upon, and doing more new construction. They've been doing it for decades at this point. And, I continue to just gain more and more knowledge and be a student. I think it's super important for us to never stop being a student, never stop growing. If you're not growing, you're dying. So I'm a huge advocate of that. I'm always education first. It's just been innate in my nature. As far as my mentorship, I do take those lessons that I learned from my mentors, and also through my everyday experiences that I experience in my own business. And as I continue to grow and disseminate it to my mentees, where we've taught now in 2021, we taught over 100 people how to buy and acquire real estate. We have several people that have acquired countless doors at this point. It's been a great experience. We kicked off the new 2022 mentorship program just tonight. We meet every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's called the MMI Blueprint Mentorship. Essentially, the MMI is my company, which stands for McAllister Investments, which originally started out just both myself and my firstborn, my son's name. But what it is it's a legacy plan that I started for my family that I've documented, so you or anyone else can be able to document and implement that plan and their strategy within their family to be able to establish generational wealth through real estate.
Okay, and folks can still, I know you just kicked off the program, but can folks still join your mentorship?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always open enrollment. We meet every single Wednesday, again, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also, that's the live component of the mentorship program, but we also have an online portal where you're able to tap into all of the replays of the lives if you're unable to attend whatever different calls, but it's always encouraged to join live. Any information that they want to obtain with the MMI Blueprint Mentorship can be obtained at my Instagram, Reek Estate, on IG, and also online at mmiuniversity.com. That's
Okay.
mmiuniversity.com. So yeah, man, we always looking forward to welcome new family members into the fold, man.
Got you. And I'll drop all that information down, whether you're watching on YouTube or the podcast. That'll be in
Okay.
the description to the show. Yeah, thank you. That was a wealth of info. Oh, one more question I did want to ask you. You talk about your next step is building from the ground up.
Yep.
How do you go about that process? From you're buying land, you're doing blueprints and architect. I don't even know a question to ask, but you've got land, you're building like blueprints. I don't know. I'm probably saying the wrong thing, but how do you go about building a home?
I got you. I got you. Yeah. So we're starting new construction. New construction development consists of essentially buying raw land, and typically if you're going to be getting it zoned up, which is what we do, we're getting it zoned up for what's called highest and best use.
Okay.
So a lot of the land that we buy are by right single family homes. So the highest and best use, however, is not single families because the size of the lots. Some of these lots are really large. I know in Texas, y'all got like, large plots of land, but in like cities like, where I am in Philadelphia, if you buy a lot that's like 4,000 square feet, it doesn't make sense to build a single family house on it. It would make more sense for us to do multifamily on it, units or 2 4 units, things of that nature. So what we do, we buy these larger size lots and we get them zoned up for highest and best use, to be able to make it affordable for the neighborhoods that we're building new construction in.
Okay. And so, like, say, are you actually? I don't know the word. Are you actually like write up the blueprints? Or you have an architect, or how does that? Like, who's designing these homes? Is that all you?
You hire Rob to do those things. Of course, we have insight on, we have some input rather on things that we want in the house. But architect, we collaborate and share our vision as to what we would like the concepts to be. And then they'll, provide their expertise in regards to developing the structural design of it for it to be suffice to pass through, inspection process for the city planning and city offices who approve the blueprints that we're going to be implementing to build. But I'm not actually doing it myself.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I read what they put together for us.
Okay, and just give it the thumbs up and the thumbs down.
Yeah. Like, I don't want the bedroom there. I want the door here. How about we do the window this way? Can we change the exterior? That kind of stuff. Yeah, but all the technical stuff and the joists being separated a certain way and this wall being fire rated and this setback here per the code and all that. No, architect handles that.
Gotcha. And the plan is to sell those or turn those into keep those as rentals, or what's the plan with those? Or is it just whatever works out best?
It's an assortment of things. We have quite a few projects that have different use, both combination of sell for affordable workforce housing and also for affordable rental properties as well.
Okay. So I said last question like 2 questions ago, but you mentioned affordable housing. So when you talk about affordable housing, are you setting these prices, or is it like affordable housing is designated by the city where you're talking about like affordable housing?
That's a good question. Some of the stuff is like, based on like different programs and things of that nature that are available to third party organizations that are typically in the city, such as like Section 8 and things of that nature. But yeah, when I refer to affordable, I am referring more toward where the market currently is.
Okay. Okay. Well, for the final time, or the actual time, thanks. That was a lot of information. I really appreciate your time. Kind of everything you dropped there. That was super informative. Like I said, I didn't even know you were in the military, like me at some point either. So my last question I ask folks, maybe a little bit different for you because you have a huge real estate portfolio. But if I were to give you like $1 million and say, hey, you have 1 week to spend it on real estate adjacent stuff, whatever, what would you do with it?
Had $1 million.
You gotta spend it in 1 week for some reason.
In 1 week. What I would do is I would look into other markets to buy more raw land, and I would allocate a portion of it to hire an expert in the area to show me the lay of the land to be able to get it zoned up for highest and best use the quickest, streamlined way. So if someone was down in Texas and they was able to buy 2 acres of land, I can get that 2 acres for 700,000. I gotta pay them a couple $100,000 to show me how to get it zoned up to make it worth 4 million. I'm there. I'm there.
Okay, cool. Got you. Appreciate it. Once again, thanks for your time. One more time where we can find you. I know we have Riga State on. What you can say it, not me.
Yep. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Reka State, REK Estate. I'm always accessible on there. Hit me up. I'm always sharing content on there, real estate related, investing related, credit, business, everything, everything in between. Again, I'm the owner and operator of the MMI Blueprint Mentorship as well. You can also find information on there, and look forward to tapping in with y'all.
Okay, cool. Well, that is it. Thanks to our guests. I don't have an outro to this show, so that is it. Thank you.
All right.